While the MDX gets all the attention as being the most important Acura model, so far this year the RDX has outsold it, with sales that have surged over 10%. And that's with the 6-year-old model, which is just now being replaced by this all-new 2019. This new generation is designed to take on the Germans head-to-head, by offering big upgrades to the styling, tech, and luxury. We have the fully loaded Advance trim, but as always, the other models will also be covered in this review. So let's go ahead and see if Acura's biggest redesign in over a decade makes it the best in the class.
We would like to specially thank Courtesy Acura for allowing us to film today's vehicle. If you want to check out their huge inventory of new Acuras, a link to their website and their physical address has been provided in the video description.
So the RDX comes with Acura's typical large and really nice feeling key fob. But you will notice the removal of dedicated remote start even on this top trim. Glancing inside, it is absolutely unrecognizable from the old RDX. But before we look at the interior, let's step outside. The 2019 changes go far beyond just cosmetic, since everything under the hood is new. Starting with the engine, the RDX is going back to its roots by ditching the naturally aspirated V6 in favor of a Turbo 4. It is rated at 272 horsepower, which is technically down 7, but the improvement in torque to 280 pound-feet will more than offset it in real-world feel. You also get 4 extra gears in the transmission, bringing the total to a class-leading 10, and super handling all-wheel drive makes a return this year. In addition to its utilitarian benefits, SH all-wheel drive is dynamic torque vectoring, so it is able to send up to 70% of available torque to the rear wheels. This gives you sharper handling and more agile feel overall. And rounding off the powertrain improvements is fuel economy, where the RDX moves in line with the competition. The front-wheel drive models are rated at 24 combined, while the all-wheel drive ones are rated at 23 combined. A-Spec models do see a slight reduction in highway mileage due to different aerodynamics. Anyways, now that we have most of the numbers out of the way, let's move on to the all-new exterior design. Acura has been rolling out their new design language for a couple of years now, but this is the first time they've been able to fully apply it from start to finish. Because of that, the diamond pentagon grille looks much more integrated than in the MDX, and the entire front end is a lot more bold. Now there are 2 versions of this front, since the sporty A-Spec model blacks everything out instead of using this chrome. That makes for a very menacing look. Turning to the headlights, the signature dual-eye full LED lights are still around, but with a slimmer and more intricate design than last year. And at the bottom, you'll find LED fog lights on the A-Spec and Advance. As far as ground clearance goes, its 8.2 inches is one of the better offerings in the class. As with any redesign, the wheel options are all new this year, and bigger across all the trims. On the Advance, we get these 19-inch medium silver alloys. I'm not the biggest fan of this design, so thankfully you can get 20-inch black finish alloys on the A-Spec, or 2 different accessory wheels if you want to stick with the Advance. Lower trims also have 19-inch alloys, either with a pewter gray design for the technology package, or a glitter silver finish on the base model. The brakes are 12.4-inch ventilated disc in the front, and 12.2-inch solid disc in the rear. And the tires are all seasons. Coming up to the mirrors, they are body colored, heated, and have turn signal indicators across all 4 trims. Your blind spot indicators are on the inside of the cabin. So as we move into the side view, you can see that the relative slab-sidedness of the old model has been thoroughly vanquished. The proportions have also been helped by an increase in overall length to 186.8 inches, making it larger than the Audi Q5, Infiniti QX50, and Lexus NX. I also want to mention that this platform is all new and exclusive to Acura. Plus, if you get the Advance, there are adaptive dampers to further enhance ride and handling. But more important than all of that stuff is the expansion of active safety equipment. This year, Acura Watch is standard across all trims, so you get forward emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control with low speed follow, and automatic high beam headlights. Most rivals make you pay extra, in some cases thousands of dollars, to get this same stuff. The rear of the RDX has also seen big changes, adopting a more sculpted and athletic look. The taillights are the biggest contributor to the new looks, with a boomerang design and LED elements that harken back to the headlights. And then down at the bottom, all models have dual exhaust to finish off the design. In regards to towing, you only have 1,500 pounds of capacity, but nothing in this class is really made to haul. All models have a rear spoiler, but none have roof rails unless you add them as an accessory. Lastly, all RDXs have a larger 17.1 gallon fuel tank, good for ranges of 410 miles with front-wheel drive, and 393 miles with all-wheel drive. Premium fuel is recommended, but it's not absolutely required. Well, that's it for the exterior, so now let's see the even bigger changes on the inside. So first, looking inside the new RDX, things have taken a 180 compared to last year's model. In place of what was a very plain design, is now an exciting NSX-inspired look that really ups the wow factor. Of course, you also have new upgraded materials. At the top, this Milano leather in greystone, espresso, ebony, or parchment, with real open-pore olive ash wood. On the sportier side of things, the A-Spec uses a combination of Milano leather and suede in ebony or red, and finished with dark aluminum trim. Finally, the base model uses leatherette and the technology Milano leather. Turning to the door trim, the newfound richness continues with leather covering almost every surface. I also really love these metal speaker grills, metal door handle, and the beautiful open pore wood. Memory seats are surprisingly standard across all trims. The window switches are new and all 4 are automatic. So on the Advance, you've got these power seats, which are 16-way with power thigh extension and even bolster adjustments. All the other seats are still 12-way power. As far as the Milano leather goes, it looks and feels very premium, with nice contrast stitching. Like I've already mentioned several times at this point, the design is totally different from all Acura's existing models. And the materials honestly set a new benchmark for the brand. All of the upper dash is made of smooth grain soft touch plastic. And in the middle, there's a swath of leather and this beautiful open pore wood. Even all the lower areas are covered in luxurious leather, wood, and metal. Plus the fit and finish is also extremely good. To start, press the metal button. When you do, this new 10.2-inch high-definition display fires up, in place of the old dual-screen setup. We'll talk about the actual software a little later. So the gauges have a new design, which mixes analog with the 7-inch multifunction display. The screen does have all the expected information, but as an added bonus, you will also have a head-up display on the Advance models. This is a 10.5-inch one, so of course you can set it to have more stuff than just the speed. Coming back to the steering wheel, all models get variable electric power steering, fed via this leather-wrapped wheel. The left side particularly has a ton of buttons, mostly for entertainment, but you do get steering wheel heating on the Advance only. The other side has controls for the gauge display, adaptive cruise control, and safety systems. You'll also find rain-sensing wipers on the top trim. The wheel itself is manually adjusting across the board. Up here is where the blind spot indicator is. And then this panel includes adjustments for the head-up display, new electronic parking brake, and the brake hold feature. Now moving on to interior storage, it has a lot of clever packaging like most Honda products. The center console itself is merely average compared to rivals. But under this wood, you have another big area with a USB port. The biggest advantage though is this new center pass-through, which is large enough to fit a purse, small grocery bag, laptop, etc. And there are also 2 more power outlets and an aux jack. Like most cars with a lot of storage, you've got an electronic shifter. A second tap activates Sport mode, where you can shift manually with the standard paddles. Pull this trigger for reverse. Once engaged, a backup camera will always appear, but it will only be this 360-degree camera on the Advance. The resolution is very good, however it would be nice if it took up the rest of the screen. Right above the shifter, you've got the dynamic drive mode selector, which looks straight off the NSX supercar. There are 4 modes, including one for snow, even if you do not have super handling all-wheel drive. This button turns off auto start stop. So moving up to the climate, all models have dual zone automatic climate controls. I always appreciate having physical controls, but especially these since the old controls mix both physical and virtual buttons. Within the same panel, you also have automatic 3-stage heated seats on all trims, but only ventilation on the A-Spec and Advance. Now let's go ahead and sample the high-end ELS 3D audio system. This is an excellent sound system, and definitely the best one I've ever heard in a Honda product. And now that brings us to Acura's brand new infotainment system, so let's take a look. Acura is making a big change this year by replacing 2 screens with only one, which is not controlled by touch, but by a new trackpad. If you're like me, at first this sounds very complicated, but the overall result is a much better user interface than the outgoing model. The trackpad component is mapped one-to-one with the display, so unlike Lexus models, you simply press the corresponding area on the pad instead of having to scroll around. Digging into the system, we have navigation. The map resolution has been massively upgraded this year, and you can search by destinations by handwriting the numbers and letters on the pad. Next, we have Bluetooth audio. This is where you can control it, but the other sources are located back on the home screen. Another big addition is Apple CarPlay, which is here now, and Android Auto, which will be added shortly via a software update. It is a nice touch that you can use CarPlay while still having access to some of Acura's features on the right-hand side.
When shall I call for you?
Otherwise, you still have the traditional phone stuff, which is where all your contacts will automatically sync over from your connected smartphone. Again, you can search by letter. The second part of the screen is controlled by a separate area on the trackpad, so you won't accidentally trigger it like you do in the Lexus Inform system. Well, that covers the basics of the new system, but we have a much more detailed tutorial available for those of you who want to learn more about it. A link is provided in the description. This auto-dimming rearview mirror is standard, and you have 3 universal remotes under it. Another feature that stands out is the standard panoramic moonroof. This is really large, and most rivals make you pay extra to get it. So overall, to say I'm impressed would be an understatement. The old RDX was competent, but it didn't have anything to stand out from the competition. However, this new one totally changes that. This cabin can go toe-to-toe with the best German rivals on tech and luxury, plus the design is a whole lot more exciting. No matter what you previously thought about the RDX, be sure to check this new one out. Now Mason will show off all the changes to the back areas.
The back door trim is made out of supremely nice materials, just like the front. All of the armrest and center portion are made out of this supple leather. and your rear windows are automatic up and down. The rear specs are about the same as most competitors, coming in at 38 inches of both leg and headroom. The seats themselves are also quite comfortable, plus they have a nice design. Once inside, the center area has all the normal stuff, like these large air vents. Below that, there's 2 charging USBs on all but the base, and these heated rear seats are Advance only. The center armrest is good sized and has some cup holders. Up next to the gigantic glass roof, you've got a nice assist grip, an extra speaker, and a rear light. Rear legroom is nice for the class, and behind the seat fully back, I still have a few inches of space for both my legs and feet. So overall, Acura wasn't kidding when they said this RDX is the biggest redesign in over a decade. The rear is nothing like the old model, and is now a class leader when it comes to space, comfort, and features. They really did a superb job on this one. The rear seats do fold 60-40 split, so just find this lever next to the belt. The new RDX also has a hands-free feature on the power tailgate. Once it opens, the RDX is very competitive space-wise. It comes in at 31.1 cubic feet behind the second row seats, and expands to 58.9 cubic feet if you fold down the second row. On each side, you have these handles to fold down the seat backs from here. The loading floor is flat, and underneath this mat there is a nice storage area. It's actually pretty big, since it can fit all of our camera equipment in. The passenger seat is the same as the driver's, at 16-way power adjusting with thigh extension and lumbar support. The materials are really nice in front of you, and the glove box is below. It's dampened and decently sized. There's tons of leather and plenty of connections and storage down here. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching one of the first in-depth reviews on the all-new 2019 Acura RDX Advance. Stay watching for a quick overview of the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.